So I had no plans to do this, but sadly Apple have forced my hands. I've had to rebrand. Let me explain. See, up until recently I've done all of my work in my smart home within the Apple ecosystem, and specifically, wherever possible, within Apple Home. And I've really pushed the limits of what's possible with the platform, which is a lot more than most people might realise, hence creating the channel. But recently I hit one roadblock that I just couldn't overcome. I've worked around so many limitations of the platform for years, like the fact that there's an arbitrary 100 scene limit, for example, but there was just no getting around this one. One day, I recently hit the limit of the total number of automations that you can have within a single Apple Home. I hit save on an automation I was creating, and it gave me a cryptic error that it couldn't save it. So I tried to create it on another device in case that one was just being buggy. And it did exactly the same thing. And in my head, I very quickly came to the conclusion that I might have hit some sort of limit. So I found a really simple automation that I could quickly delete and recreate, and I deleted it, and I hit save on my new one, and voila, it worked. Confirmation that I had hit some sort of limit. Now, this may not seem like a big deal, but it actually hit pretty hard because it meant I would never be able to go any further within my automation life without broadening my horizons somewhat. So after much deliberation, I set up a Home Assistant server and set about adding all of my devices and playing around with some automations. And I've got to say, I wish I had done this sooner. What's possible in Home Assistant and how easy many of these things are is just mind-blowing, especially the things that should have always been simple in Apple Home, like a timeout, and even things that were not really possible in Apple Home, like making an announcement. They're just so much easier, and it just opens up a world of new possibilities. So the long and the short of all this is that I'm going to be featuring a lot more Home Assistant content on my channels. So I should probably shift away from the Apple-based branding. So from now on, this channel and all of my others will be known as Home is Where the Smart Is, which is a bit of a mouthful. So wherever possible, I will abbreviate that. The link to my website will be as such. You'll have either option available to you. Anyway, thanks for listening to my little story, as boring as it may be to most of you. I hope you continue to find my content useful, as most of you probably never went near that limit. So my existing content will still be useful to you. But for those of you who find Home Assistant a more interesting prospect, perhaps I can save you some time in bothering with Apple Home. If you feel like you're probably going to hit that limit anyway, stick around, subscribe, like, follow, all of those good things. And remember, home is where the smart is.